go around with the cider. Never cooked for
I
you
know.
before.
I love your cider. Thank you for all this, by the way. This is really good.
Yeah, I gotta make you comfortable, relax, because I want you to share as much as possible with the community so they can learn and grow and maybe even get to know you better, connect with you. Because I know like sometimes they were telling me people will sometimes choose a side. If they like you, they'll buy into everything that you do. If they don't, it's kind of like they kind of get narrow-minded where I don't really care what you do, I don't like you, and you can be awesome. But on this platform, I more or less just like to I don't know, just welcome people and get to know who's in the neighborhood and what other cool things I can be doing artistically outside of just painting on a canvas. And I almost feel like I'm slightly jealous of you, or like this enamored maybe, just because I feel like what you do, even though painting is therapeutic, but I feel like to sculpt is to like pour your whole whatever energy into it, because your idea, I feel like it's one and the same, but your idea is in your head, and then you get the clay, and then you get whatever you work with, and you build it, and you watch it grow, almost like when you break the ground open, till it, and wait for the fruits to come. Right, or you see the little buds of the grass sticking up, or whatever. It's almost like this is almost, I'm gonna say it, fuck it. Having sex, the embryo and the baby, all in one thing. And you're gonna follow her so you can see her sculptures, but I don't know, would you say like it's realism?
I don't really describe my sculptures as realism. I describe them as more of feelings that I feel. I describe them more as like, because I feel like realism is just like, this is exactly what's in front of you. This is exactly, oh my God, Brad. Wow. I'm getting spoiled here.
I was like, what is this smell?
But yeah, I see it more as representations of, so if people wanted me to sculpt them, I would tell them it's a representation of them rather than exactly them. Because I feel like I don't have the skill to go super realism, but I also choose to not go super realism. Because I feel like that's so normal and that's what everybody usually goes for. Okay. So in museums when you see sculptures, it's like super realistic sculptures, but it's not something that's like, what came from your heart? What came from your mind, I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it resonates with more than just myself. But I'm going to go back and forth from talking about your work to other things that I feel like is important. So,
okay.
How important is it for more women of color to get into your medium? And how important is it for more women of color to get into your medium? And do you feel like, because it may not be a lot of women of color in your medium, it kind of does something to you personally, whether it be, I don't really see a lot of women exhibiting in the spaces that I exhibit my work, or I don't see reflections of myself, or I don't really have somebody that I feel like neutrally, or just in leveling up and not feeling isolated. I don't have somebody else to kind of go into the lane with, type thing.
Well, so I think that when it comes to women artists, I don't think that they necessarily need to go into sculpture. I think they need to go into something that resonates with them. You know what I mean? So artistically, if they feel that poetry resonates with them and that's how they talk about how they feel, then I feel like they should do that. For me, I think that obviously every artist is different. I think that for me, sculpture is something that resonates with me because I can turn something that's from the earth into something that I'm proud of and that speaks to people. And it's 3D, and I also like to get my hands dirty. So I feel like I think women artists need to find something that resonates with them. Also, with that being said, I feel like women artists have a lot more difficult time not making it, but becoming the artist that they want to be, because there is like, I feel like we have to battle a lot and we have to fight to get noticed a lot. You know what I mean? I know in my experiences, people wouldn't take me seriously until they saw my work. So if I spoke words, they'd be like, okay, cool, you're an artist. Cool, on to the next one. You know what I mean? Until I actually showed them what I did, and they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I guess you're cool. You know what I mean? But I would rather me speak as a woman artist and them listen to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. What, I kind of want you to expand on that. What situations do you feel like sexism plays a big part in when it comes to like really growing your medium or growing the potential of your craft? How does sexism kind of like get in the way or tear down or just limit?
For me, what I do in my art is I try to uplift people of color, and mainly that's women of color, because I am a woman of color and I can only speak from my own experiences and who I am. And I think that, what was your question again? I lost my train of thought.
Well, I feel like to not put so many words in it, how exactly does sexism limit the potential of a female artist? How has it, from what you're saying?
So I know from my experiences, because I don't want to speak for all women artists, because some women artists don't have to go through this, but I know from my experience, because I associate myself with a lot of men, I feel like if I say I'm an artist, they're just like, oh, okay, cool. They kind of brush it. I feel like I'm brushed off, rather than if my friend is also an artist, I'll be like, oh my God, let me see your work, yada, yada, yada. And that's been on multiple occasions, especially from different areas, especially for people who don't even know me. You know, once again, it's not for all women. I feel like everyone has their own experiences, but I know that even me, how I portray myself in art, not even myself in art, but women in art, I feel like in general, women have it a lot harder than men. I feel like that's just something that everybody really knows, which is why I make so many women and so many women in different forms. Like I've been doing a lot of art based on bald women lately. I've been making a lot of bald women, and I wanted to make stuff about that because I wanted to push the beauty of bald women, making sure that that's okay, making sure that people know that that's okay, making sure that, you know, I can be bald and beautiful, because there used to be this stigma of like having hair and what hair meant, and I feel like hair is very, very important to the Black community, but it also can mean different things, you know what I mean? So, you know, having a big fro can mean loving yourself and yada, yada, yada. But also me cutting my hair also is me loving myself in a different sense, you know? I really think it depends on the person. But battling like social norms like that is something that I enjoy doing.
I kind of feel like you're well, solution. How can you, and how will you not be defined by sexism? And by that action, I feel like it will, by you doing that action, it will radiate, because it almost be like, I had that same issue with whatever it was, company, person, and because they were just such a jerk, I kind of just like ran off. But being that you stood your ground, I now am encouraged to kind of come back with not just myself, but the other people who were victims of that person or company. Because it's now solidarity, because it's everybody that's like, oh, we just needed somebody to be able to crack the door for us to rush in. Like, what type of action on that level do you feel like you're ready to make, or you will make, to make sure that, I guess, that door is forever ajar?
I think fear places I feel like fear is one of the things that stop women from fighting back. Like fear of being judged, fear of being talked about. But at the same time, my mother is my mother is a very powerful woman, and I think that that's why I am the way I am, because she always taught me to never let people tell you what to do, especially a man. That's what my mom would tell me. Don't let no man tell you what to do.
Do it around.
Right. She was like, if you want to do that, you do that. If you want to wear your hair like that, then you wear your hair like that. You don't have to have an explanation for it. If you feel like it, then you feel like it. Period. Don't let anybody tell you no, that you can't do something. Is what my mom always taught me. So even being a woman, I always told myself that I can do anything that I want to do, even if somebody told me not to. So even if, being rejected from this person and that person because of how you look or what you do, I mean, people gonna hate every day. But do you like what you do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it sounds like for what it is, you already were groomed to be a certain type of spirit that allows you to navigate the crooked system.
Right.
Or the crooked things that come, or the things that just get in the way that don't need to be there. Like you already have the fire about you, the mental fitness, or you already are validated within your own self-esteem.
And I had to talk about that early. So I actually went to a private school in high school. I went from going to an all black elementary school, which was actually shut down, to like getting a scholarship and going to like a white high school, white private, the field school in DC.
What school you went to?
The field school in DC.
And then you went. The one that shut down. That's the one.
Oh no, the one that shut down was Middleton Valley Academy in PG County, Maryland. That's where I'm from. Then I was homeschooled for 6th grade, and then I went to the field school, which was obviously a culture shock because I lived in PG County, and I lived in a black community, and then every day I would go into another white community, a different white community. And obviously I think with that, my mother and father always had talks with me about being a black woman, and mainly about being black and me. I'm not being able to do certain things or think certain ways. You know what I mean? So I had to basically get an identity check early. Because I feel like usually people find themselves around the age, I'm 23, so I feel like people find themselves around my age right now. And I'm still finding myself. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person at all, but I feel like the process of me finding myself started very, very, very young because my parents forced that onto me. They were just like, you need to realize that you are not one of these kids out here. You have to be you, basically. Like my mom was just like, it's okay to have the hair that you have. That's just the hair that you have,
Can you remember in that time space some of the situations or feelings that you might have had in reference to when you said culture shock? Like it could be like, I went from the whole school or class being look like me. Everybody in the class look like me. To it's probably like a 80-20 or a 90-10 ratio now at the new school.
So,
and people are like, that's new. It's new to them. It's like it's new to me. So it's almost like we're both being weird.
Right. So, my graduating class in high school was 64 kids. It was a small private school. 64 kids, and I think there's probably like 5 black kids out of the whole out of my year. And I think I realized the culture shock when because I think being that young and going into school, I'm just like, oh, everybody's the same, yada yada yada, everybody's equal when they're not, And you realize that when you have different communities. So I realize that culture shock every day. So in the morning, wake up, go to school, take the train. I would take a bus, 2 trains, and another bus to school. And then within the public transportation in DC, one line is called the Green Line. And that's where a lot of people of color were, because that's where we lived. And then I would transfer over to the orange and the blue line. And that's where a lot of white people live. And I think that's why I realized the culture shock, because even with the trains, I feel like I'm going super off topic of art. But even with the trains,
it's about you.
Right. So even with the trains, so with the DC Metro, there's the Green Line. The Green Line is always packed, filled with people of color. A lot of people don't have cars, which is like, because I didn't have a car, you know. There's one line that goes into the PG County area. But then from DC to like Virginia, there's about 4 lines, 4 white people that go into Virginia, you know, deeper into DC, things like that. And those trains would have like 10 people on it. I kid you not. And I think that's when I realized, like, wow, sometimes people just don't really give a shit about us, which made me upset.
How old were you
I felt like, I learned when I was so I went to the field school when I was from 8th grade to 12th grade. And I learned, I'm sorry, 7th grade to 12th grade. And I think I started realizing that when I was in 8th grade. You know, that's when I started making the work that I made. So it was like,
So you started sculpting in the 8th grade?
I did.
Was the school that you transferred to more of an artsy type?
Yeah. It wasn't an art school, but it was like, people were okay with you doing art.
Okay.
So I went to that school, took ceramics. I was into drawing. I've been drawing since I was in 2nd grade. Took ceramics class, loved it, and then
is that like the foundation of sculpting? Is ceramics like the foundation of sculpting? Okay.
Ceramics is just clay. Like you can wheel throw. Oh my God, excuse me. You can wheel throw, hand build, whatever.
What's wheel throw?
Wheel throw is like, you know, you have that like electronic wheel thing. You're like sitting.
What's that thing?
Like in that movie, huh?
That thing that was on Ghost?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, and I'm actually thankful for my teacher. Shout out to Natalia, because she I didn't like wheel throwing. I actually really don't like wheel throwing. It's supposed to be therapeutic, but it was not for me. It was frustrating.
What, trying to keep the thing under control?
Because you have to have a lot of balance.
What do you mean, like?
You have balance. You have to stay calm.
Oh, so I'm assuming that the thing is doing the work, and you kind of just like light as a feather.
Right. So when I learned about wheel throwing, I learned this in college too, because I had to take a wheel throwing class.
Came back to bite you, huh?
Right. It really did. You know, like you have to take this class, and I was like, God, fuck. So I learned that it's mainly about focusing on your hands and being steady with your hands. So if you're anxious, the clay is gonna be anxious. You know what I mean? So the clay takes on what you're feeling, which is crazy. Because that's how sculpting is for me. Like the clay takes on what I'm feeling. So back to 8th grade. My 8th grade teacher, she was just like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to sculpt. I want to like hand build." So I started hand building pots, and then we had this like project, and I had to sculpt myself. And I was like, "It's pretty cool." And then we would do like little slideshows and shit, and take museum trips. And I would always see in museums and slideshows for like famous artists, like they were only sculpting white people with white features. If they sculpted somebody black, they still didn't have the features that looked like mine. You know what I mean? And I didn't really like that. And even being in a white school, I'm just like, wait, nobody looks like me. Nobody looks like the people in my neighborhood. You know?
Was that some of the attitude from the kids? Were they like, I guess the mean type because they weren't cultured, or they were?
In high school? They weren't mean to me. I think that they thought they made fun of me low key because I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to take like artistry seriously. So they kind of laughed at me. They're not laughing now, but hair flip. Like, I mean, they were nice. It wasn't really like they were like bullied. I got bullied more in elementary school because I was an artist. Yeah, because I was an artist, because I was light skinned, because I was skinny and tall. I was the same height that I am now. I haven't grown in a couple years. So I was really tall. Yeah.
Did you, that tall shit be a thing? Did they try to choose your whole life because you were tall? Like, you should play basketball. You should.
I got that in high school too. And I actually gave in and played basketball, and I didn't even like it. But I did play volleyball. And that was my shit. Volleyball was my shit, you know?
I like it too. I think, isn't that like the off-season sport that people who play basketball play? Because I know like during off-season they play alternative.
Yeah, but sports. Volleyball was my main sport. My off-season sport was track.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
I ran track and field. But this was bomb. Thank you.
Thank my you
Right, I'm saying like, this is long. But yeah, where was I? I feel like I'm just telling you about my whole life now.
We need to know. I'm learning more about you. You know that you can ask me questions and I can add to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are no fucking boundaries with what we're going to talk about. Like, yeah, like I said, I feel like, but this is a rant or a rant, what is it called? A wrench in the situation. Do you feel like, because you're in different pockets than I am? I'm more of the raw artist, where not really interested. I am, but I don't need the gallery approval. But do you feel like in that pocket, art is still one-sided? And when I say one-sided, a lot of people are still being fed that art isn't lucrative, art is a hobby, art is, what are you doing it for? Or if you're not this type of artist, you're not an artist. Almost like if your stuff is not being hung in galleries, or if you are not a fine artist, you're not an artist. Is that still the kind of the talk, the rumor, the tone?
I feel like, well, my stuff isn't really hung in galleries. So am I still an artist? I think that I'm an artist. I think that being an artist is a career, because there are living artists who literally make money off of just being an artist. I've literally done it. I've literally freelanced and made money and made my rent and bills perfectly fine. You know? So I feel like it is possible if you really want to do it. That's the only thing, is if you want to do it. If you want to see art as a hobby, then that's how you see it. But if you want to see art as a career, then that is how you see it. How you see things is how you act. Right? So if you see, painting as something that you do on the side, then it's gonna stay something that you do on the side.
So the energy you give back.
Absolutely.
So almost, I've been making sure that I've been chanting that every day. And I only say chanting just on some. I mean, sometimes I be in my head about accepting the knowledge that I've come into. Because me even saying, like, almost like doubling back on me saying chanting. And not really standing on it. Yeah, I said chanting. But to me, the thing that I routinely say, I call it a chant. Because when I wake up on purpose. I say everything that I want to do. Like if I light a candle, I'm saying what I want. Light an incense, I say what I want. So to me, that's me telling myself, the universe, and everything else that's listening what I want. So,
do you find that it's easier that way for you too? If you're just like,
it feels like health versus smack the alarm clock. I ain't even woke, but where's the towel? Where's the toothbrush? Where's the
super discombobulated?
Versus getting up on purpose. Like, I already know that I went to sleep at a certain time, for me to rise at a certain time. I already know what I needed to do the night before. I learned from this girl, I don't even know what her Instagram name is, but I watched one of her videos, and she was saying that she wakes up on purpose, and when she wakes up on purpose, it's more of a, say, like, her day in traditional sense starts at 9, but she rises at 6 to hydrate, write in her journal, go out on her hammock, listen to certain music, probably exercise, whatever she does.
Yeah, all that is necessary though for self-care. And I'm literally just learning that like now. I'm learning that, and I'm glad I'm learning it now and not when I'm like in my 40s and 50s.
Yeah, almost like stuck in routine at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important. And that really goes into how you think too. And also like train yourself on what you think you deserve.
You said train yourself?
Yeah, on what you think you deserve. I feel like,
so almost like, don't, if that's what you feel, it's for a reason, don't break it down, don't try to doubt it, don't second guess it, because it didn't come to you for no reason.
Everything happens for a reason. That's why I tell all my friends. Everything, like us having this conversation right now, is happening for a reason. But yeah. But to answer your question about the artistry, I feel like for me,
Don't you ask me a question? Did I answer? I feel like
I'm not gonna lie. I get sidetracked a lot. Like you'll ask me a question, I'll like half answer, and I'll get sidetracked, and I'll be like, "What was your question?"
You asked me. I think you
did ask
you answered
something.
it, and then you say, "Well, how about you?" and shit. And then I went to. I think I was saying like I'm learning to be a certain way. Like how I said, like, I don't need the gallery per se, because that's how I've been operating, but I know that at some point it will benefit me. And I guess I'm trying to get my body and mind ready for whatever that may mean, or whatever that thing may want from me.
Do you know what you want from art in general? Because I know you paint, right?
Paint. You see how she tried? Like she don't know nothing that I do. So it's alright. We gonna work on that. But I was like, so would you just know how to sell cider and shit? But that's probably because she left. So it's probably like all she knows that I sell cider. Like I'm a visual artist. So that's photography, painting, sketching. It's my thing. I feel like photography is second nature. I take more time and energy when I paint and draw.
I don't know why I thought you also did poetry.
I write it. I don't say it. Someday I feel like I probably will, but for right now I'm just something slick under the whatever, or I send you something cute, but not like for the audience type thing. I don't know, I just don't see it. But I also have been training myself to not say indirect suppressing words. Because if I write, that means that I already have the ability. It's just a choice to shift into the stage. But if I'm already a poet, don't put no boundaries around you, because you're almost subconsciously saying that I'm never gonna get on that stage. When the stage could be that door that you need for people to kind of really come up to you, where, say, like for instance, when you first met me, and this gonna be some absolute shit, because you ain't know I was gonna ask you that shit, so you only gonna answer honest, and I want you to answer honest. My feelings ain't gonna be hurt. I'm gonna learn. What was your first impression of me?
I thought you were quiet and shy, to be honest. I was just like, oh, maybe she just doesn't like my work. When I first met you, you were like, this is cool. And you were like,
how I like work when I said this is cool?
I mean, because it's like see, you said you was going to get mad.
No, because it was like, what? Like, I love how fucking work. Like,
yeah, it was just because you were just like, this is cool. And you were like,
because I was taking it like,
oh,
like,
okay.
this is, that's me. Like, this is,
Okay, I was just like, I was like, maybe she's shy. I don't know.
This is the next level shit. Because, like, your stuff is, like how you said, is 3D. So it's almost like realistic to whatever you were going after. It could be like, I wanted it to look like this person. Here's the photo. Like, it comes at you. It's not like you're trying to figure out, like, is it a boob or is it because it's weird what type thing. Like, it's I'm gonna be posting some shit after the video so y'all can get in touch with the shit that she does. It's awesome and it's new, and I love that the face that's attached to that is her, because it's a woman, it's youthful, and within the youthfulness and being a woman is power. I feel like the opportunity is limitless, because we are power sources as women, and be it you got age behind you, who knows what's next for your work or what the sculpting might spill into.
Yeah. So
it's only going to be greater and get greater, and then everybody else is kind of going to be allowed. Now, yeah, that was the answer. What do I want to do with my artistry? That's what you asked me.
Or what do you want in general?
I want money. I want to be.
That's one of the goals.
I want money, and it sounds like, oh, everybody wants money. Like, no, like, I do what I do for free, and everything that I've done has been for free in various mediums, or this social work or food, or everything has been for free up until April, when I'm gonna make you pay for my energy. But and it was a hard thing to do, because for a long time I was like, I loved it to express myself and create, and I love that I'm an artist, and you should too, and you might even be an artist but don't know. So it was like, no, I want to gather all types of fucking people, and sometimes people just don't have it. So, alright, don't worry about that shit, just make it type of thing. Or if you hungry, be fed. Like, you don't gotta pay me to fucking eat if you hungry type shit. So everything was like, this is what should be happening. This is what we should naturally be doing. So why am I charging for that type of shit? But then it also is a hard sell for me, because that's my stance on it. Like, what I should be doing naturally, why am I putting a price on it? But in order to continue to scale out in the activities that I do from the core, I've got to be able to keep a roof over my head. I got to be able to keep my life in order to be able to paint, draw, take that picture, welcome you, be able to have the energy to cook this food for you. Like I gotta be able to, be well for that shit. I can't be like, well, you gonna eat, but I'm not. Just to show face for this podcast or whatever.
Yeah, and that's hard being such a selfless person. I feel like you're also a selfless person, and that's because I'm also like one of those people who will put everybody else before myself. And I feel like, I think it's just, I feel like it's so corny to say, but I really feel like it's a self-love thing. It starts with a self-love thing. You start loving